You led right into my next question, which is, as you know well, and you can spend time on a campus, there's a tremendous commitment to public service among young people. But there's also, I think, a reluctance, especially about federal government and politics, a sense that it's hard to get ahead, you don't get a lot of respect. What can be done, and what would you say to young people who are thinking about that, seeing other choices in their life as to why they should take on the slings and arrows that go with the kind of career that you've pursued?
Well, first of all, I know how publicly service-minded young people are today. I see it, I hear it, and I'm very pleased about that. And I also recognize what Jim is talking about, which is, you know, a certain level of skepticism about government and politics. I think skepticism is part of the American DNA, so I'm not sure that's all new. I came of age during the Vietnam War, and there was a lot of skepticism, so you're in a good tradition of American skeptics. But at the end of the day, we have an enormous obligation to participate in and to invest in our country. I mean, it is such an honor for me to travel around the world as your representative and speak on behalf of the United States of America. And government service can be so rewarding and can make a great contribution. Obviously, over the course of many years, I've known people who have made that commitment. And I work with some of the best and smartest people I've ever worked with at the State Department and USAID, who really make a difference in the lives of Americans and in the lives of people around the world. So our government's not perfect. Human beings aren't perfect. There is no such thing. But certainly it is a worthy and an incredibly rewarding enterprise to be part of government service. So be skeptical, but don't be cynical. And if you have any interest in pursuing that, whether it's at the local, county, state, national level, I hope you will. You may take to it and find your life's passion and career. You may decide it's not for you. Politics, especially if we're talking about electoral politics, is very challenging. There's no doubt about that. But I often tell people that politics is part of everything you do. There's academic politics. I was on the faculty of a law school. There's church politics. There's family politics. There's corporate politics. Everything you do, to some extent, is small p politics, where you have to get along with people. You have to express opinions. You have to marshal others to your side of an argument if you're making a presentation in a corporate boardroom or in an academic faculty meeting. So it's I think, short-sighted to say you don't want anything to do with politics, because you will in some way or another be involved in the, quote, small p political process. Electoral politics is very, very hard but exciting. It's exciting to have ideas that you would like to work toward. It's exciting to convince people to work with you toward implementing those ideas. And again, politicians are human beings, so you get what you expect with any group of human beings. Some are incredibly admirable and some are less so. But the fact is that the reason democracy is so worth defending is that we don't give any group of people a monopoly on the truth. One of the challenges that some of these new democracies are going to face is if they are religiously based political parties, you get into arguments where it's not just politics, it's also faith and religion. And so how do you argue against that? How do you compromise over that? So I think politics in our democracy is especially important today, to continue to make decisions that will benefit our country, and I make an urgent plea for evidence-based decisions, and in the budgetary arena, decisions based on arithmetic and not ideology. So we need people who are willing to get into politics, knowing how hard it is, willing to keep going at it, understanding you have to compromise, but sometimes getting a little bit is better than getting nothing at all. And so I would urge that people who are interested in politics, you know, working in a campaign, working for a political leader, a county executive, a mayor, a member of Congress, whomever, you know, see it up close and personal. Decide whether it's for you. It may not be. But I certainly never thought I would ever run for office or hold office. I certainly never envisioned being someone running for president of the United States. But I believe in the political process, and I don't think we have an alternative. I mean, we can cede decision-making to people you may not agree with, but you're not willing to get out there and argue against them because you know what? They may attack you. They may say terrible things about you. And it may not just be that one person, it may be legions of people across the, you know, the cyberspace world. So you have to be willing to enter into the political fray. But I think we need you more than ever. So I commend public service, whether it's in a not-for-profit, NGO, the faith community, government service, politics, because we really need to keep replenishing the energy and the ideas and the idealism of the next generation involved in our politics. And we also need more citizens who take politics seriously. I mean, we can disagree on what we should do on climate change, and that's totally fair game. We may not want to make the investment because we have other priorities. But let's not disagree about the science. We can disagree about what to do about the deficit or the debt, but let's not pretend you can keep cutting taxes and end our deficit and debt. I mean, so let's have an evidence-based discussion. Doesn't mean you have to agree with the solutions that are proposed, but we do great damage to our political system when we act like ideology in the American political process is more important than facts. I mean, we are a fact-based people. One of the reasons people from all over the world could come here and get along and work and succeed is because they didn't have to be captured by ideology or by religion that tried to dictate how they lived. That could be part of their private life, their private beliefs, but our politics were wide open debates about who we were as Americans, where we were going, what we wanted to achieve, and we need to get back to that. And we need to be very honest about what the facts are. And then we can argue about the politics. You know what, after you look at the arithmetic and you realize that, you know what, cutting taxes is not going to produce huge amounts of revenue. We tried that in the 80s. It didn't work so well. My husband had a different idea. He kind of understood arithmetic, and so he said, okay, we got to do a little of this and a little of that, and we got to a balanced budget and a surplus, and then, you know, we get a chance to actually eliminate our deficit and our debt, and we decide, no, we're going to cut taxes again because that's going to create more revenues, which of course it didn't, and then we have 2 wars that we refused to pay for the first time in American history, and guess what? We've got a huge deficit and just unbelievable debt. And if we're really concerned about it, then let's have a reality-based conversation about it. And we don't have to fix it. You know, we can take the consequences if the political system can't bear the hard decisions, but let's not pretend there are easy decisions that can resolve climate change or debt and deficit and all the rest of it. Because what I see happening in other countries is a refusal to face hard decisions. And I don't want that to be us. You know, that's not who we are. We've always been a pretty realistic people. We have a lot of disagreements, but you know, we not only need to set the standard for democracy, we need to set the standard for the kind of reasoning that should underlie any kind of democratic enterprise.
Madam Secretary, there's a lot we could talk about, but as the Dean of the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs, I can't think of a better note to end on. So let me thank you for coming here and spending time with us, and really great to have you here. Thanks so much.
Thank you all.